The data is in. Global temperatures are on the rise, affecting communities around the globe in different ways. We are witnessing increased storm prediction, more frequent flooding, and concerns around the spread of diseases. Operating as a climate extension service to the Commonwealth, George Mason is taking research out of the lab and empowering communities to respond locally and faster as a multiplier effect to solve our greatest challenges.
Climate is changing, from a geologist's point of view, incredibly fast. We're anticipating things are going to be quite serious in the future, and we feel that people need to be prepared for that. Problem is that until it happens to you right in your own neighborhood, it's hard to realize just how serious things are.
Dr. James Kinter is the director of the Virginia Climate Center at George Mason University. Founded in 2022, the Virginia Climate Center brings together research faculty and students in areas of weather patterns and resilience.
Our confidence is highest for the global scale, and the impact are going to be very different in places like Arlington and Albuquerque and Abu Dhabi and the Antarctic.
But if you tell the people at Danville that the Dan River is going to flood 5 times more frequently over the next 30 years than it has over the past 30 years, they sit up and notice and they say, we've got to do something about that.
George Mason hopes that by focusing on better communication, they'll spark a chain reaction from local governments up to the state or even federal level to mitigate future weather predictions that might hurt lives and their livelihood.
Until it affects your life or impacts your life more than other areas, it's just not going to measure up as something that's as important as something else that's going on. So it really comes down to, where does it impact your day-to-day? The Virginia Climate Center represents an opportunity to provide direct research and data and information that can influence policies and actual on-the-ground projects in basically their backyard, in their neighborhoods, right?
We're already seeing some results from this hyperlocal approach. Alexandria, Virginia's location near the tidal basin makes its old town particularly susceptible to flooding. Using George Mason's research as a resource, the city is creating public works to hopefully get ahead of that flooding.
Mason really prioritizes inclusive research that is both relevant and impactful, really addressing some of the grand challenges of our time. We want to get our good ideas out of the laboratory and put to good use. Sometimes translation occurs through commercialization, but other times it occurs through community engagement.
Here in the city of Fairfax, we are experiencing more frequent, more intense storm events and their effects. And one of the common themes that I get from residents is that this didn't happen before. We depend on partners like the Virginia Climate Center to provide us with data so that we can better respond to these conditions.
Local work and local data and local engagement is really critical for this, because as we're experiencing this change all together, we can also learn from each other, use our research, and work together for a more resilient Virginia.
The fact that we can use our Virginia Climate Center capabilities to help communities here in Virginia gives me hope.
This story is just one of the many ways George Mason University approaches research as an R1 institution. Learn more about climate solutions and discoveries around the world, or partner with George Mason at gmu.edu/research. Funding for the Virginia Climate Center was made possible by Representative Gerald Connolly through the U.S. House of Representatives.